Now, I've bought most sets, I've bought plenty of singles, and I have a good collection. I just don't really have the skills. So, we're going to take what I know, we're going to take what I have, and we're going to see how far we can get. In this new series I'm calling Getting Good at Yu-Gi-Oh! What is going on, guys, and welcome back to episode 2 of Getting Good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, this episode I was really excited for a handful of reasons. The first of which is I'm doing my first live duel in it, which I decided to playtest. If you couldn't tell from the episode title and that little bit before, I'm doing Phantom Knights. The reason I went with Phantom Knights for the first part of this, to start this off, was it was the only deck I really had out of the 3 that I have fully complete, since with Eldritch I'm missing my Ice Dragon's Prisons, and with my Cyber Dragon build, it was running VFD, and with the ban list coming up, I knew, or mostly knew he was going to get banned, so I didn't want to start the series with that, where I immediately had to worry about that, so I didn't want to. But hey, I think I made the right call with this deck, because I felt pretty satisfied with the duel. I mean, I made some mistakes. I made one really bad mistake, one mistake towards the end of it, in which, if I look over it later, I could have gotten the exact same board if I did like 2 extra steps. It was just one slight mishap on my part. So, aside from that, let's jump into that duel video. I mean, that's what we're here for this time around, right? And then we'll recap and get back to see what we feel afterwards. Welcome to the first live duel for Getting Good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Featuring Phantom Knights, piloted by me, and Dinosaurs, piloted by my friend Andy. Now, to start the duel, I did win the die roll, opting to go first. My opening hand was pretty awful, to say the least. I opened 2 copies of Fogblade, 1 copy of Shade Brigandine, 1 copy of Wings, and 1 copy of Silent Boots. So I honestly just set 4 past, hoping that the 2 Fogblades would be enough to interrupt him on his turn. He then went drawing for turn and activated Extravagance to start. Banishing 6 to draw 2, which of course I had no response to. I mean, I had no Ash, no nothing. Literally nothing I could do to stop that. So, after activating Extravagance, he goes and activates Terraforming, searching Lost World. Lost World, of course, one of the key cards for Dinos. Really interrupts a lot of things due to that token and the effect. He goes and activates Lost World right after, then following up by pitching a copy of Misk for effect. He then banishes Misk in order to summon out the only level 1 Dino, I believe, in the deck, which is the Animadorn Archosaur. He then summons a token to my field right underneath my left side extra monster zone, then linking off Animadorn Archosaur to get out a copy of Link Karibo, which he then turns into Secure Gardna. Immediately following this, he goes and activates Double Evolution Pill, banishing out the 1 copy of Link Karibo and the 1 copy of Animadorn Archosaur to summon UTC Ultimate Conductor Tyranno from deck, proceeding to attack. On attack declaration, of course, I activated Fogblade, targeting the token, thinking that I could stall for time until I could draw something good, and hoping that it would work out in my favor in the long run, since he couldn't attack the token, and he couldn't flip the token face down. I was thinking that maybe this was a good tactic in order to stall, not realizing in the long run this was actually probably one of the worst plays, and as soon as he summoned UTC and I had the token, I probably should have scooped. There really wasn't much going on. But he follows up by setting 2 and passes. I start my turn. So, I draw. I don't remember my draw, honestly. But I started off by activating another copy of Fogblade on the UTC, forgetting that I still have a token, and I can't do that because of Lost World. So, that's the one thing I take back in this duel. One of the 2 things. So I check over my set cards, trying to figure out if there's literally anything I can do. Realizing there was nothing, I just passed back, thinking, well, he can't stop me, so really what can he do? He starts his turn drawing Extravagance, which he of course, immediately proceeds to activate. Only banishing 3 in order to draw 1, acting more of an upstart, but that top deck was killer, to be honest. He drew Fossil Dig, which he activates to search Overraptor, one of the best cards. But in chaining to the Fossil Dig, he does discard Misk, just to get it in the grave for the banish effect for later in the turn. After summoning the Overraptor, he then proceeds to mill out Giant Rex. Then, following that, by banishing both Misk and Giant Rex in order to summon Baby Saursaurus, which brings back Giant Rex due to its own effect, and he proceeds to give me another token, placing that token directly under the Secure Gardna on my field. Following that play, he then takes a second and chooses to overlay his Overraptor and Giant Rex into Tornado Dragon. Of all cards left in his extra deck after banishing 9, he had a Tornado Dragon. So, that was fun for me. He then activates the Tornado Dragon, detaching the Overraptor in order to pop my Fogblade, making the token available for attack again. Of course, at this point, I still had a Fogblade set, and to be honest, I did not make the same mistake I did last time of shotgunning that to protect the token. What sucks is I don't have anything on my extra deck to turn the tokens into, since with my extra deck it's so tight. He then proceeds to attack with the UTC into the token, chaining the effect of Lost World to protect it, so he can destroy a Dino from his deck instead. Searching through his deck, he chooses to destroy Petite Pteranodon, who has a similar effect to Baby Saursaurus, which just lets him special summon one from deck, which he proceeds to special summon a second Overraptor. Now, of course, its effect is a once per turn, so he couldn't get another search or mill off of it. He just wanted the extra 18 body on board. He then proceeds to attempt to attack twice, forgetting the fact that UTC can only attack monsters once each. But it was fine. I mean, we took back the play, we let him attack with the Overraptor instead. That way, he could hit the pop and then do extra damage, because instead of just doing the small amount of damage he would have done before, this way he was able to do the extra about 5,000 damage for the turn between the combination of the 3 monsters. I Fogblade it, so I don't have to worry about an interruption on my turn, hoping that all I really need is 2 level 3 monsters, and at this state, I could win as long as he doesn't have, of course, Imperm. But in activation to my Fogblade, he activates UTC, special summoning his 3rd and final copy of Overraptor out of the deck, searching another copy of Misk to hand to protect his monsters for the rest of the turn. Now, with what I had planned, the Misk wouldn't have protected him at all, because I already had the Tornado Dragon, not the Tornado Dragon, the UTC shut down. But as I finally get into my plays, I normal summon Ragged Gloves, special summoning Silent Boots, and activating the Danger Jackalope in hand to discard itself, so I can summon the other single copy of Tsuchinoko from deck, giving me 3 level 3s on board that I was going to use to try to go into Breaksword. With Breaksword, I was going to pop himself and pop one of his cards. Any of them were fine, really. I was aiming for his back row, hoping that it was an Imperm I could bait out, thinking I had extended plays that I did not have. But trying to bait out the Imperm, what I was really aiming for in this round was to just go into Raiders Night, to go into Arc Rebellion, to just hit for game in one big shot. But of course, I didn't get lucky. He had that, which I chained Wings to. He had the Imperm, which I chained Wings to, just honestly to get it in the grave. I wanted to get it into the grave so I could banish it for cost to bring back one of my monsters to go and use rank 3 plays with. I activated my Shade Brigandine under the Imperm column. Yeah, I thought that through real well. Anyway, I banished my Wings in order to bring back my single copy of Silent Boots that was in my grave, linking into the one and only Cherubini of the Burning Abyss, so I can mill a Burning Abyss card and continue to set up, but unfortunately I really wasn't that lucky. He ashed it. And ashing it, I had no other choice but to turn the 2 of them into the best Phantom Knight monster we have, the Link 3 Rusty Bardache, who not only sends but also sets. I milled out my copy of Torn Scales in order to mill a copy of Fogblade, which he immediately shotgunned the Tornado Dragon on to banish. So I, of course, banish out my copy of Fogblade to target and bring back No, it was not Rusty. I forgot his name. To bring back Greaves, Stained Greaves. And chaining Torn Scales off of the banish effect, I went to go bring him back, trying to go back into my rank 3 plan. So I bring him back, and I proceed to special summon the Phantom Knights of Breaksword, again trying to go for that OTK that this deck can pull off with the right thing. I activate him, pop in his other back row, which was a set copy of Double E-Pill, pop in himself as well, and because of Xyz's material effects, both the monsters went to graveyard instead of being banished off of the effects of himself, Torn Scale, and Fogblade. But they come back as level 4 since Breaksword has such a great effect. I overlay the two of them into Raider's Knight, giving me just the materials I need, and he Nibiru's me, giving me a token with massive defense. I don't remember the exact number of the token, but it was quite large. And honestly, that was his only strategy in order to save himself. Because if he did not have that in hand, I would have very easily went into Arc Rebellion and actually would have won that round. Did much quicker. So sometimes a brick hand isn't a game over. Sometimes a brick hand is just try to play it out. If your opponent can't OTK you right away, you still have a comeback chance depending on what your top deck is. Now, of course, that Nibiru was really more or less the end of it. But on end phase, of course, I mean, not end phase, but right before end phase, I banish my copy of Stained Greaves in order to mill another card from deck, which of course I proceed to mill a copy of the Phantom Knights of, oh my god, I'm forgetting their names, Ancient Cloak. Using Ancient Cloak effect to banish himself to add a card to hand, well, Phantom Knight card to hand, and I add myself my second copy of Torn Scales, hoping that if I can get one more turn, I still might be able to pull this off. At the start of his turn, he proceeds to banish 7 off of the Misk effect, of course, in order to special summon the limited one-of copy of Pankratops. And within the banish, he also gets out the copy of Giant Rex, which effect activates to bring back. And he pops the token with his copy of Pankratops, which I scoop. And that was the end of game 1. Really not much to be said there. It was really all I had. But hey, I did my best. Almost got it. Just Nibiru killed me. Starting game 2, I chose actually to go second this time, knowing that the Lost World token I would get would really stop me from using Fogblade on most of his monsters, if not all of them, as long as that token was on the field. I was hoping going second I could just turbo out a Arc Rebellion and go for game. So he started his turn by activating Lost World, chaining the Misk to pitch right away in order to special summon out that Animadorn Arc Sword, which I Ash Blossomed, which made him honestly just end turn. He set 2 past. That was looking good for me to start. I mean, an Ash to make someone set 2 past, I was hoping that was going to win it for me. I set 1, proceeding to immediately activate my copy of Shade Brigadine, and normal summoning out my copy of Torn Scales. You chain into Torn Scales, Kage Muchinite, special summon him, giving me 3 bodies on board. I proceed to activate the effect of Torn Scales, pitching a copy of Ancient Cloak, and milling a copy of Wings. Just that extra Phantom Knight trap card really does do wonders sometimes. I then link 2 into Cherubini, you know, that amazing Burning Abyss monster that just works so well in almost every level 3 deck. Just such great level 3 support. I activate the effect of Cherubini, which he imperms, so no resolution on that yet again. I don't know if I actually ever resolved Cherubini in this game. I might have in game 3, I can't even remember right now. But I then turn the Cherubini and Monster Trap into the Link 3 Phantom Knight yet again, using his effect to mill a card and set a card. Now this is where I actually made a big mistake, in which I never resolved the effect of my Link monster. I never set a trap, or spell. I milled my card and completely forgot. Now, in the long run of things, it didn't really matter. The gameplay from what I did evaluation on would have been the exact same. But, back to the duel. After milling my copy of Silent Boots, banished a copy of Ancient Cloak to search one, but chain my copy of Torn Scale, special summon him back, adding another copy of Silent Boots to hand, which I pretty much immediately proceed to special summon him. That way I can get some rank 3 plays down. Now, I'm aiming, of course, to go for my Turbo out Arc Rebellion for game, but unfortunately I don't have enough attack points on board that even if I summoned him, I'd only really be doing 51 damage right now, which is not enough for game. So, trying to extend and be safe, I end up summoning Dante, trying to mill 3, hoping the 3 cards I mill give me what I need to win. So, I detach my copy of Torn Scales, who once again doesn't get banished because of that XE ruling, which is amazing. And I mill a copy of Farfa, which sucked. Milled my copy of Harpy's Feather Duster and my copy of Kage Muchinite. 3 cards that just do nothing if I mill, especially because he had no monsters on board, so Farfa had no response. I banished my copy of Wings, bringing back Torn Scale yet again. Going into battle, he Nibiru'd me. Now, I declared battle trying to bait out that Nibiru, which worked. I mean, Nibiru came onto the field, getting rid of all my monsters. Every game, he had Nibiru in hand. I mean, that card screwed me. It's a good thing I have that Nibiru token, which he proceeds to summon under my, always summoned under the same zone for me, which is my left extra monster zone. Realizing there's not much left to do, I banish my copy of Boots to search out a copy of Fogblade, set it, and pass. You know, not much else I can really do there. I unfortunately don't have the monsters to work around it. He summons a copy of Animador Archosaur, which I proceed to Fogblade, actually forgetting that Lost World says if I control a token, I can't target his monsters. So that was an illegal Fogblade activation, or illegal target. But he turns the Animador Archosaur into a Linkuriboh, which he then turns into a Secure Gardener, activating the set copy of Double E-Pill he had, banishing Animador Archosaur and Linkuriboh to get out Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Once again, that star monster of the Dino deck that really does so much. But I get a token from Lost World, which we kind of forgot about, but then I remembered, so we put it back on board. And he now has the setup to not really go for game, but it still does a good chunk of damage. He attacks with Secure Gardener first, triggering the effect of Lost World in order to destroy a dino from deck instead. What a great deck that does. Don't get me wrong, I like dinos, it's just a lot of stuff. He destroys the baby Ceratosaurus in order to special summon out what I remember was the Oviraptor, yes. He then brings back Oviraptor, or attempts to bring back Oviraptor actually, but since baby Ceratosaurus activates Engrave, I had a Skullmeister in hand, which honestly probably what saved me. That Skullmeister did a lot. He then attacks with UTC, popping both tokens, dealing me 2,000, and attacking directly with, you know, Nibiru, doing another 3,000, leaving me with only 3,000 life points left. Now, this was not looking good, but it wasn't the end. I mean, hey, what do they say in the anime? It's not over till the last card is played. So that's what I'm trying to do more of, is really playing out my games and not just scooping when things are looking grim. So, I normal summon Skullmeister. You might ask why. Well, he's a level 4 Dark Monster, which really helps a lot. I banish out my copy of Fogblade, targeting my Rusty Bardache, chaining the copy of Torn Scale to special summon him back, because that Torn Scale does so much. And he activates UTC, popping his Secure Gardener to set my 2 monsters that he can set. I then normal summon my copy of Farfa, using his effect on normal summon, which is that if I don't control Burning Abyss, he blows himself up. And then when he's sent to grave, his effect banishes a monster till end phase, which we also forgot. But I banished the UTC, thinking, well, that's the strongest monster, it'd be the biggest pain to get over, so let's just take it out now. So, with that, I activate my copy of Rusty Bardache, once again one of the best cards in the deck. And now that he's back at 3, honestly, I don't know if I want to run another one. It's really hard to find room in the extra deck, which I will show after this duel is over. This extra deck is tight. I mean, there's so many things I can run. But back to the duel. With Rusty, I mill a copy of Ancient Cloak, and I set a copy of Fogblade because it's the best trap card. Banish the Ancient Cloak to search Silent Boots, you know, bread and butter Phantom Knight combos. Special summon the Silent Boots, linking the two. Wow, okay. I just realized another misplay in this duel. I actually wasn't able to do that. Okay. Well, I linked the two of them away into my copy of Vertiplane Vertianicon. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted. I just realized how badly I messed that up. I honestly probably would have lost that duel. I completely forgot about Rusty's effect that he cannot be used as lick material. But, you know, we make mistakes. He didn't catch it, I didn't catch it, so it went through. Shouldn't have. Using Verte, you use him what you use him for. I summon Dragoon, use Dragoon to pop, deal 3,000, and then proceed to punch for an extra 3,500 with the 2 monsters, leaving him with 2,500, I believe he had. He draws, realizing that we both actually kind of completely forgot about Farfet's effect, which would have brought back the UTC, which really wouldn't have done anything. I mean, I would have negated. So he just scooped. And we start game 3. Now, here we are in game 3, the last and final. I was actually really hoping we got to game 3 just for, you know, content reasons, and I'm happy we did, even though probably shouldn't have because of last game. Now, he chose to go first, starting with the Lost World Misk combo that he started last turn. But as soon as he activates Misk, I Skullmeister. Such a great hand trap that people are once again using. And after Skullmeistering, I don't think he had many other plays to do. You know, stopping that Misk early is definitely helpful, and since it's a Grave Monster, he doesn't protect himself. So, after hitting him with Misk, he just does the, you know, set 2 pass like he did last game. Almost a perfect start from game 2. Now, I start off by normal summoning Tour Guide, chaining Kage Muchinite in order to chain block from Ash. Off of Tour Guide, you know, you always gotta special summon something good. And I go for the Stained Greaves. Now, unfortunately, I had one of the Burning Abyss monsters in hand. I'm pretty sure it was the one that summons from deck, who I believe is Graf. So I couldn't do the normal, you know, Burning Abyss plays in order to really go for the extra bodies on board. So I just set one. This time, thinking he might have an Imperm, purposely not in the Imperm column. And I activated my Shade Brigandine, one of the best traps in the game. Well, deck. So I proceed to link the 2 away into, you guessed it, Cherubini, to really the first starting play when it comes to this deck. You always want to start with that Cherubini. That mill from deck is so helpful, you have no idea. So, off of Cherubini, I summon Libic. And because of Cherubini's effect, Libic is protected. It's great. Oh, wow. I just realized what I did wrong. Well, shit. Alright. So I turned those 2 into Rusty Bartochet, which I shouldn't have done. Shit, okay. This game is just rifled with misplays for me, apparently. So, this is why I have this series. You know, I'm trying to get better at the game. I've been making some mistakes. That was a bad one again. I was turboing out the plays, and I played the deck in a way that I've turboed out some stuff that I just have forgotten the steps in between sometimes, which is how that happened. But, oh well. It sucked. So I went into Rusty, summoned out another level 3, went into Gossip Shadow, trying to protect this time from Nibiru, because Gossip Shadow is great. You know, rank 3 that just stops the Nibiru in its tracks. It's fantastic. So I banish my Ancient Cloak that's in the grave, add a copy of Silent Boots, special Silent Boots, declare the effect of Rusty Bartochet, and You know, we're taking a second because he's thinking, not sure what to activate. And he ends up letting it go through. You know, it's great. I get my mill, I get my set, and I ended up milling my copy of Torn Scales, and I don't remember what I said. I'm pretty sure it was Fogblade. Unfortunately, this part, we actually ran out of my recording stopped, so I had to start a new recording, which is why there was that weird cut there. It's my bad. So I linked my 2 monsters away into I linked the 2 away into Vertanicon. I'm trying to set up the Dragoon again. Now, unfortunately, at this state, I do lose my my access to protection from Nibiru, so at any point he could Nibiru me and just stop me from even getting out Dragoon. But I summon another one of the Burning Abyss monsters who blows up on field, special summoning back Cherubini for my backup plan. Because my first thought was, I gotta go for Dragoon. You know, Dragoon will do enough that it should just stop him and let me go for game. I mean, I have cards in hand. I can also banish from grave to add more to hand. I was pretty set in my own mind. I thought, worst case scenario, he has the Nibiru and I'll just live. But activating Vertanaconda, he imperms it. So nothing happens there. I just link the 2 away into a 2-material Appaloosa and set 1 and pass, basically. I mean, not really much else to do. Oh, I did do that. I banished Silent Boots to search a copy of Wings just for the extra trap card. I set Wings and I passed. You know, not really much else I can do with that after getting, you know, my Verte stopped and misplaying the way I did. He activates Twin Twister, pitching his single copy of Double E-Pill from hand, popping both of my Fog Blades before he starts turn. That way I had never had a chance to activate them. He top decks, you know, he only has 1 card in hand at this point, I'm pretty sure. Maybe 2. But he's playing with a top deck war here. I have nothing, he has nothing. We're really just trying to see who can win from this state. I mean, it not really that close. He summons the Oviraptor, going to activate the effect, Chain in Lost World, and I used Appaloosa in order to stop the Oviraptor from resolving. He then goes and uses Oviraptor to attack into the token, which he attempts to destroy, but I used Wings, using Wings to protect the token from destruction, so he never resolves Lost World since it can't be destroyed. He doesn't get the search, or well, technically the dump out of it. And on end phase, I banish a copy of Fogblade, special summoning back a copy of Torn Scales, because no matter what I drew, I had my discard target. Now, this is another point after watching over what I could have done differently. I drew a Skullmeister for turn. What I really should have just done was normal summon the Skullmeister, went into Arc Rebellion. I mean, he had nothing in hand. It was an easy win from there, and I kind of unnecessarily extended the game, not realizing actually until halfway through this combo that I should have just summoned Skullmeister and overlaid with the Shade Brigadine on field, but I made it unnecessarily complicated, which opened me up to Nibiru. I mean, what else could I have done? I wasn't thinking. I thought of my rank 3 plays more and pop in rather than the easier option, which really would have just ended the game on the spot. So I overlay the 2 of them into Breaksword, you know, the best Phantom Knight Xyz monster that is not Dark Rebellion or Arc Rebellion. And because of the Lost World token, I overlay the 2 of them. I detach one using Breaksword effect, target the token, target Lost World, pop them both. And I forgot that he destroys. So he chained his copy of Lost World in order to pop the Baby Ceratosaurus from deck. That was my mistake. Off of Baby Ceratosaurus, he special summons the Oviraptor, using the Oviraptor effect, of course, to add a miss to hand, trying to stop me from negating anything, and I really wasn't sure what else. Probably follow-up play, but miss in this state would not have affected me at all, and I would have been completely fine, and this all would have been so much easier to do if I just normal summoned the Skullmeister. Activating Rusty effect, you know, he sits there to think. The only option he really has to activate at this point is Misk, and he doesn't do it, so I mill my copy of the other new Phantom Knight monster to the deck. My copy of Stained Greaves. I've been getting Stained Greaves confused with Ragged Gloves this whole video. Well then. So, Stained Greaves being my last resort, since he special summons back a monster from hand and increases its level by 1, which gives me that level 4 I need in order to get that copy of Raiders Night out, which, again, if I just summoned Skullmeister, this all would have been avoided. So, I banish my copy of Ancient Cloak from deck to add a copy of Ragged Gloves to hand. See, now I'm getting the name right. And I special summon the Ragged Gloves off of the effect of Stained Greaves, increasing its level by 1, making it level 4, overlaying the two of them into Raiders Night, and that spells the end of the game. I mean, activating Raiders Night, I detach 1 using his effect to overlay immediately Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon, who has one of my favorite effects in the game. I mean, he's a great OTK material. So, Arc Rebellion effect to detach 1, and I don't even get to that point. As soon as Arc Rebellion comes out, he scoops. And thank you for watching. Let's get back to the video. Alright guys, welcome back. Now, I know it was a little lengthy. I tried to cut that down as much as I could. I mean, that whole video was, when I was done filming originally, it was about an hour and 10 minutes. At one point, I record on my phone. My phone ended up maxing out on storage, which is why there was a weird clipping issue where I forgot what I set, because I filmed it about a week ago now, and I did all of the other recording stuff today because this is the first time I had time to do it. You know, aside from those two, I would say, major mistakes I made, there was the one with the Barty where he uses Link material, which was completely accidental. I completely forgot about that clause. I haven't played him in a minute. And the other mistake where I used Cherubini to summon from deck, the only difference would have been I would have used, is it Libic, I think? The one that summons from hand. So I had Graph in hand the whole time. I would have just used the one to summon from hand, summon him to the field, linked them off, then summoned the one that summons from deck to bring out the original monster. It would have been the same end board, just with one extra step. That was just a slight mistake on my part. Now, I want to go over the deck with you guys. So let's hop into a deck profile. All right, let's see what we think of it. All right, guys. So that deck list. Let's start with, I got 2 copies of Torn Scales. Now, the reason I run 2 is I don't have a third. Mainly because I just keep forgetting to buy it. And I haven't encountered an issue where I don't have the third yet, so I'm going to stick with the 2 until I get the third. But I do plan on bumping it to 3. 3 copies of Silent Boots. Search Spells and Traps and is a free special summon. It's pretty great in the deck. 3 copies of Ancient Cloak. He searches literally any of the Phantom Knight cards in the whole deck. Spells, traps, monsters. It's great. He's one of the best cards. We have 3 copies of Ragged Gloves, who just mills any of the, spells or traps or monsters. So if you can get him into the graveyard, you can get any of the others in the grave for extended plays or searches at the end of your turn, whatever you need. I'm currently running 2 copies of Stained Greaves because I don't have the third Torn Scale, so I'm making it up with a second copy of Stained Greaves. In most cases, he works out for me. I mean, he's a great extender. He's a great graveyard effect. It works in most cases. I have 1 copy of Seer of Burning Abyss, who, special summons 1 monster from your graveyard. The 1 copy of Graph, who summons from deck. The 1 copy of Libic, who summons from hand in case I draw the Graph, which I did. And the 1 copy of Farfa to use with the 1 copy of Beatrice in the extra deck for the banish. Now, general, level 3, great stuff. 3 copies of Tour Guide. I like the Altart a lot, so I'm using those. And 3 Kagemucha Knight for extended plays, and also to, chain block your Tour Guide so your opponent can't ash it. It's a great combo, and also he's just a great extender, which helps you go into things. Extenders in this deck, I think, help massively in terms of going into some of your extra deck cards, which really do kind of change up what you can do on your turn depending on what you draw. Now for hand traps, I have 3 Ash. She's a level 3, so you can normal summon her and use a Kagemucha or whatever. It's level 3, and also it's Ash. It's one of the best hand traps in the game. Can't go wrong. And then right now I'm using 3 Skullmeister. It's great up against almost any matchup, and honestly, in some cases, it really did come in clutch. I have the 1 Danger Jackalope and 1 Danger Tsuchinoko. Level 3 extenders. That's about it. 1 Red Eyes and 1 Dark Magician, so you can summon Dragoon. Otherwise, I wouldn't run those cards. And that's all for monsters. Now for spells, I have 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Call by the Grave, 1 of the new Phantom Knights rank up Magic Force, which is great. And especially as a quick play, it really helps with a turn 1 board that can bring out on your start of your opponent's turn Dark Requiem, who can have so many negates. 1 Red Eyes Fusion for Verte Anaconda to get out Dragoon. Traps, 3 Fogblade because it's Fogblade. I use the 1 copy of Shade Brigadane. Hasn't failed me. Most of the time it works. If you draw it, it's fine. If you need to search it, it's fine. Honestly, it's a great extender. And you can use it for rank 4s because it summons as a level 4 monster. My last trap is my Phantom Knight's Wing. I use it as the extender play because a lot of the times you can only use Fogblade once per turn. So you have the Wing for that other once per turn when you're going first or second to get out that extra step for the extra monster you need. And that's it for the main deck. I think it's around 40 or 43 cards. It might be 43 just because of the one of the Red Eye stuff, which bumps up to 43. But I've never had an issue where those extra 3 cards really hurt it. Now, for the extra deck, I have the 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Great card, and also, I absolutely love this rarity. I have the 1 Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, for the Dante, just so you can overlay her over, and then use her with Farfa to banish 1. The 1 Arc Rebellion. This card wins games. His effect is ridiculous. You detach 1, you gain the attack of all other monsters on the field, and their effects are negated. Even in the case of when I was dueling Dino, if they miss, all that happens is their effects aren't negated. He still gains the attack, because the attack boost affects him, not them. It's great. 2 copies of Break Sword. In almost every game, I use both copies. It's a great card. He pops both, and then he brings back 2... if he pops himself with the effect, he brings back 2 of your Phantom Knights and bumps them up a level, so they're 4, which will let you go into your Raiders Knight, which I'll get into. The 1 of number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. It's a rank 3 that if you can get the extenders out for it, you can absolutely stop Nibiru before your 5th summon. It's very situational. It requires a very specific hand. But honestly, there are times where I'm just really happy I have it. The 1 of Raiders Knight. What can I say? He summons Arc Rebellion. He wins the game. The 1 Levier the Sea Dragon. Extender. I actually haven't gone into him much lately. I kind of forgot he was in the extra deck. I should use him more. It's really good. 1 Dark Requiem. Now, going first, you can absolutely set up a play where you get out Dark Rebellion and then set your rank up magic spell. So at the start of your opponent's turn, you activate it to bring out Dark Requiem, and then he will have at least 3 extra monster negates, because he is not a once per turn monster negate. So you will have the 1 or 2 Fog Blades, and then you'll have 3 extra negates on Dark Requiem, plus if you can get out the extra copy of Dragoon, you are sitting on a very, very good turn 1 end board. 1 copy of Dante. He mills 3. This deck thrives in the graveyard. It's great. 1 copy of Cherubini. The extra deck is tight. You don't need more than 1 to begin with. He mills a level 3. He requires 2 level 3s. You get to use your Burning Abyss plays with him. All in all, it's a great card. It's a great extender, and it really does help the deck massively. 1 Appaloosa. It doesn't come up very often, but when it does, you're happy you have her in the extra deck. 1 of Rusty. I know he just came back to 3 now. I don't know if he's worth running in more than 1. This extra deck space is really tight. The only problem is if he gets destroyed, if he gets striked, or if he gets banished out of the grave, it kind of hurts, but it's kind of hard to find the space. And then you have your 1 Verte Anaconda and your 1 Dark Dragoon. easy package. I mean, it's a ridiculous card. It's a monster of a negate. Like, he wins games by himself if you can't get the rest of your stuff in. I mean, all you need are 2 monsters, and you get Verte, and then you get Dragoon. He can win a game half the time if you can't get your other combo. So this game has so many different ways to end boards, but all in all, I love this deck. I love the way it plays. But let's get back to the video. All right, for the review. There were some pretty bad misplays in game 2. I definitely accidentally cheated. It wasn't on purpose, and I don't think I would have won if it wasn't for that. So where does the deck fall for me? I like it a lot. I think it's something I could definitely work more at, and something, if I did some different plays, it might have went differently. I don't know. I still like the deck, and I think it performed really well. I just really made that misplay, and I think it deserves a second chance against something that's also a tier 1 deck where I don't make an accidental cheat. So we'll try it again. It's not done yet. We definitely have more work to do on it, but let's see what happens. Sorry for New York City noise. Now, if there are some changes that you guys think I should do in it, let's absolutely do it. And just give me the recommendations. I mean, I think the deck is good as is. I don't know the deck that well. If there are some other things that you guys might think I should change up in it, let me know. I'd be glad to try it out. This deck isn't solidified yet. Now, I'm also not even sure if this is the deck I want to take with me when in-person events open up again. I love it, but I'm still leaning more towards Eldritch, but we're not done with this deck. I think next episode, we're going to try this deck now against a rogue deck. Because Dino still falls in that tier 1, tier 2 category, which means, in most cases, it might do fine. Now, it is a rogue deck, and rogue sometimes has the upper hand against tier 1, tier 2, but against other rogue decks is really where they kind of don't do great. So, what we're going to do with the next episode is we're going to try it out against a rogue deck. I'm not sure which one yet. I need to see what my friends have. We're going to try some stuff out, and I'm going to pick one. So, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching this. I know this one was a little longer, and it didn't have as much me talking in it as it really did. I mean, I did a lot of talking, but not facecam talking. It was more just of the duel, but that's what we're doing. We're testing stuff. We're playing the game, and we're having fun. So, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, commenting, and join us on this adventure, because we're still going. We're only on episode 2. It just started, and we have so much more ahead of us. So, until next time, my friends, I'll see you guys then.